Welcome to The Good Ride. I'm James Beastie, and this is the Capita Outsiders. I rode this with my Union Force Ride Deadbolt and Battalion Acid Boa boots. I got this late in the season, but I got good, varied spring conditions. When it comes to sizing, this Outsiders fit me pretty well for a 154. This would be the size I'd get if I was in the park most of the time. If I was riding the mountain, which I usually do, I'd get the 56. That would be a much better fit for me. Both worked very well for my boot size. The 54 felt a little small on the mountain, but the 56 would feel just about right. So let's talk snowboard dating apps, some things that'll make you want to swipe right. This has very good pop. This is easy to butter. It has a nice mellow flex. It's got a decent base for this kind of board. And this is an exceptional park board. It can do everything in there. It's not a bad mountain freestyle board either. Some things that'll make you want to swipe left. This can get pretty bucky and bouncy in soft, uneven snow. This almost full camber profile can be a little technical and a little catchy for intermediates. And it's definitely not a good board for beginners. And if what I reviewed appeals to you here, then go to our sponsor, Flower Board Shop. They're a snowboard only shop, and they're helping us bring honest, objective content to you. So check them out, click through the links, and buy something from them. We'd appreciate it. When it comes to shape, you have a true twin. It's just best to be ridden centered and close to perfectly duck, but you don't have to because it's not an asim twin. When it comes to camber, there's a decent amount of camber underfoot that goes well past the bindings, almost to the tip and tail, and then there's just a smidge of early rise in the nose and tail. So this has a much more technical feel versus boards like the DOAs. But this slightly softer flex makes this a little more easy to ride, a little more forgiving. But if you want really forgiving, you need to look at the Outer Space Living or something like that, because that's just camber to just a little bit past the binding and then a lot of rocker after. This 1 foot's off the chair incredibly well and tracks really well down a long flat cat track. That's the joy of camber. When it comes to edge hold, it's just a standard side cut. There's no disruption in it, but it grips pretty good. It didn't completely fall apart in the hard spring morning snow I rode. I wouldn't even call it a hard snow specialist, but it can hang in hard snow when you see it on occasion. This is better in soft snow though. So let's talk outsider flex. You can see it's a medium soft flex. On snow, it feels a lot softer than it does in studio here. If you see me pressing right here, you can see most of the gives in this area right here. Between the feet, it's a little stiffer, but there's still a little give, as you can see right here. It's got a lot of pop. It's very easy to ollie, and it's very easy to butter. It's a very lively, energetic flex, especially for this price point. When it comes to uneven snow, I found that this did pretty good for being such a light, poppy board in hard, uneven snow, but in soft, thick, uneven snow, I found this to be a little more bucky and bouncy than most twins out there. And I think that's one place where you don't really want to ride it as much. When it gets really wet and really thick and really uneven, this just bucks me around more than most boards. And that's one of the problems that Capita has with all their boards lately with their new construction. When it comes to speed, this is by far no bomber. If you like a twin that can go straight and fast into a big kicker, you want something like the DOA or the Super DOA or the Indoor Survival. Those all do a little better. But this isn't bad, especially if you size up a little bit. It has enough capability to hit most sized kickers in the park. And it can get a little decent amount of mountain speed, but not much. It has a side cut that doesn't want to turn on you when you try to go straight. It doesn't feel hooky or catchy. When it comes to base glide, I really like this base. Yeah, I'm not a fan of colored bases, but at least it's just clear with the graphics underneath. So if you get clear PTEX and a good PTEX gun, don't light it with a match, because then that'll create those little black flakes when it's burning. You can keep this base looking pretty nice. That is if you're not jibbing with it all the time. As you can hear, there's a little bit of structure and possibly see, and that helps when conditions change, like it gets a little wet, a little slushy. This won't just totally suck up, but it doesn't feel like it's messing with you in firm but fair conditions, where the Super DOA felt really hard to butter. It felt like there were hundreds of little fins holding the board in place and not letting you turn as easy edge to edge or across the groomer carve. It felt really weird. I don't like all that extra structure. It can be very grabby and very unsettling. This didn't do that, and I like that. When it comes to turning, this initiated a turn very quickly. I'd say it was medium fast, and I would say even if I sized up to, let's say, a 56, it would still be medium fast, just a touch slower. When I got it on edge, I really enjoyed this turning experience. It's an 8-meter side cut for the 54. It's very balanced. It allows you to do a little bit of everything, from an across the groomer carve to a moderate speed down the line carve. This isn't very stiff tip to tail or torsionally, but it's fun to make mellow carves with because you have all this pop out of the camber, and I had a lot of fun turning with this. I do like the indoor survival a lot better. That just felt like a little stiffer, and it had a little more spring out of the turn, but this is great for something that you're primarily riding in the park. Now, when it comes to powder, leave it at home unless you like riding Camber twins without a lot of nose and tail. There's barely any early rise. It's not a board you get if you're gonna set your stance back in powder. If you tried to set it all the way back, you could get a 21.75 inch stance width all the way back, and you could get 1¼ inches back from center of board. That's basically being centered on board still. It's not gonna help much or at all. So if you like riding centered in powder, look at something else for those days, like the Capita Spring Break Powder Twin. That would be a lot better. That'd be a great 2-board combination. And when it comes to riding switch, this is almost perfect either way. The only thing I like better is an ASIM Twin. This is an amazing park board. This is just what you get if you want to sample a little bit of everything throughout the park. You want to go hit a mini pipe or a medium-sized pipe when conditions are soft. This will be great. Do you want to go hit some medium-sized kickers and some jibs? This is amazing. I love this. An advanced to expert park rider who wants a soft but somewhat technical, lively, poppy board will thoroughly enjoy this. And I think that's where this mainly shines. So overall, I've always liked the Outsiders. I just love the way it feels. And I'm not a park rider, but if I was, this would probably be the board I'd get. So there you have it.